Today, I have a question for you, one that may just change the way you see yourself. What if you could bounce back from any emotional setback, like a rubber band? Some might say, that's impossible. When I'm hurt, I fall apart. I can't just snap back like nothing happened. And I hear you. Emotional pain is real. Raw. But what if I told you, you are not the pain? In Buddhism, we are not taught to suppress emotions, we are taught to understand them. Emotions are like waves. They rise. They fall. But you are the ocean beneath them. Still, spacious, and whole. Sounds poetic, doesn't it? But this isn't philosophy for monks in mountains. This is a living practice, something you can bring into your most difficult days. Before we go further, if this message resonates with you, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. That small act helps us bring this wisdom to someone who might be hurting right now, someone who needs to know they are not alone. In a moment, I'll share with you a quiet breakthrough, a meditation where I stopped trying to fight my emotions, and simply watched them pass like clouds. And in that stillness, something profound happened. I realized, I didn't need to be stronger, I just needed to be more present. And from that presence, emotional resilience began to bloom, like a lotus rising from the mud. So if you're ready, let's begin the journey together. It's often misunderstood. Many people think it means being tough, unshakable, untouched by life's storms. But in the Dharma, resilience is not the armor we wear. It is the flexibility of the heart. It is not becoming harder. It is becoming wiser. True resilience is like bamboo. It bends with the wind, but it doesn't break. It's the ability to feel deeply, to fall, and still rise again, not because we're unfeeling, but because we're rooted in something deeper than emotion. In Buddhism, emotional resilience is not something we build artificially. It grows naturally from mindfulness, self-understanding, and compassion. It is what allows us to face loss, betrayal, or fear, and still choose presence over panic, stillness over struggle, clarity over chaos. It's not a destination. It's a practice. A moment-by-moment return to our true nature, even when the world feels loud and heavy. But why do we need this strength, right now, more than ever? Let's look honestly at the emotional turbulence so many of us are quietly drowning in. In today's world, the mind is constantly agitated. Work demands pull us one way, family expectations another. The digital realm never sleeps. Messages, opinions, headlines, all rush at us like an unending storm. We find ourselves irritated by small things. A late reply. A look we didn't understand. A mistake someone made, or one we made ourselves. And then, the deeper emotions. Anxiety over a future we cannot control. Regret over a past we cannot change. Often, it takes just one careless word, one unexpected comment, to break something tender inside us. But let me say this clearly, my dear friends. These feelings are not wrong. They are not weakness. They are messengers. Like waves crashing against a cliff, they are not trying to destroy us, they are trying to show us where the cracks are. In Buddhism, we do not shame the storm. We listen to it. The Buddha said, within this very body, and this very mind, lies the origin of suffering, and also the path to its end. Emotions are not the problem. Our relationship to them is. When we resist what arises in us, anger, sadness, fear, we create tension. And tension becomes suffering. But if we can learn to observe, to sit with, and to care for these feelings like a mother cares for her crying child, something changes. We stop fighting the fire, and instead, we learn to understand its warmth, and its danger. So the question becomes, how do we cultivate this understanding? How do we build the kind of inner strength that does not collapse in the face of life's storms? Let us now look to the timeless teachings of the Buddha, to the wisdom that has calmed countless hearts for over 2,500 years. Let us explore how mindfulness, impermanence, and compassion form the foundation of true emotional resilience. Mindfulness, sati in the ancient tongue of the Buddha. It is the art of remembering to return, again and again, to the present moment. Not to escape life, but to enter it fully. You see, most of us live like sleepwalkers. We're not present with our tea, our breath, or the people we love. And when anger rises, we become it. When sadness comes, we drown in it. But mindfulness creates space. Instead of collapsing into our emotions, we learn to witness them, with clarity, with stillness, and without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we no longer say, "I am angry." Instead, we gently observe, "Ah, anger is here." That subtle shift is revolutionary. It reminds us that emotions are visitors, not permanent residents. That we are not the storm, we are the sky in which the storm passes. The Buddha once said, just as a lotus grows in the mud and blossoms above the water, the mindful heart remains unstained by the chaos around it. Mindfulness does not mean we do not feel. It means we feel with full awareness. We allow the wave of emotion to rise, but we do not let it sweep us away. Imagine this: a child is crying in the next room. A mindful mother does not rush in with panic. She breathes. She listens. Then she enters the room with presence and calm. That is mindfulness, the pause that transforms reactivity into wisdom. And it is in that pause that we find our deepest strength. Not in pushing emotions away. Not in fixing or fighting them. But in simply being with them, fully, compassionately, patiently. To live mindfully is to train ourselves, gently, day by day, to stay home in the body, to come home to the breath, to meet each feeling as a guest. Even the difficult ones. Especially the difficult ones. But mindfulness, while powerful, is only the first doorway. To truly rest in peace amidst emotional waves, we must also embrace another truth the Buddha offered us. The truth of impermanence. Impermanence. All things arise, and all things pass away. This is the law of nature. What we call impermanence, anicca, is not a curse. It is the doorway to freedom. No emotion, no thought, no moment ever stays the same. Joy arrives like sunlight through the window, and then it fades. Sadness settles in the chest, and one day, without notice, it lifts. Even the deepest grief, when held gently, will soften. Even the sharpest anger, when understood, will dissolve. The Buddha compared the mind to the sky. The emotions are like weather, storm clouds, sunshine, wind, rain. But have you ever seen a storm that stayed forever? Have you ever met a sorrow that never changed its shape? When we forget impermanence, we cling, we grasp at joy, fearing it will leave. Or we push away pain, fearing it will stay. But when we truly understand impermanence, we become patient with our suffering, and humble with our happiness. We learn to sit with what is difficult, not because we enjoy it, but because we trust it will pass. We do not need to fix every feeling, We only need to breathe with it, watch it, and let it complete its journey. A Zen master once said, "This too will pass." It always does. Not as a dismissal, but as a tender reminder. Life is movement. And in that movement, we are carried gently from one season to the next. Pain, too, is a season. And like winter, it prepares the ground for spring. When we embrace impermanence, we stop fighting reality. And in that surrender, we discover peace, not the peace of escape, but the peace of alignment. Yet, there is a deeper wisdom still. For even if we know emotions will pass, what shall we do while they are here? If we do not know how to hold ourselves in the trembling moments, that wisdom remains incomplete. So now, dear friend, let us turn to the next great pillar of the path. The practice of compassion. Compassion. Many believe it is something we offer to others, a hand reaching out to comfort the suffering of the world. But in the Dharma, true compassion begins much closer, within the landscape of our own heart. You see, we are often harsh with ourselves. We carry our failures like stones. We replay our mistakes like old songs, again and again. I shouldn't have said that. Why did I do that again? What's wrong with me? But the Buddha never taught us to punish ourselves into awakening. He taught us to understand ourselves. When we fall short, when we speak with anger, when we hurt someone we love, instead of tightening with shame, we can whisper gently to the heart, "You are still learning. It's okay." In Buddhism, this is called Maitri, loving kindness. It is the soil from which resilience grows. For without compassion, mindfulness becomes cold. Without compassion, impermanence becomes indifferent. But with compassion, even our deepest wounds become places of healing. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Treat your anger with the same tenderness as you would a crying baby." And what is anger, if not a part of us asking to be held? What is fear, if not a younger version of ourselves, trembling and alone? To respond with compassion is not to indulge our pain, it is to befriend it. To say to ourselves, yes, this too is part of the journey. And here lies the miracle. When we learn to hold ourselves with tenderness, we discover deep inner strength, not loud, not proud, but steady, like the mountain beneath the wind. That steadiness is the birth of emotional resilience. Not because we have mastered life, but because we have finally made peace with being human. And then, in one quiet moment of awareness, something shifts. We feel it, a turning, a soft light breaking through the clouds. It is in this very moment that resilience takes root, not through force, but through presence. And so, let us now return to the heart of this journey. To that one sacred turning point where the path becomes real. Where the teachings stop being words, and start becoming our life. There was a time, not long ago, when I sat in meditation after a day filled with noise. The kind of day where everything feels too tight. Expectations unmet. Words spoken in haste. A heaviness that clung to the chest like wet robes after rain. I closed my eyes, but the storm did not cease. Inside, there was anger, burning hot. And beneath it, disappointment, deep and silent, like an ocean floor. In the past, I might have escaped, distracted myself, blamed someone, scolded myself for feeling this way. But that evening, I did something different. I stayed. I simply sat. I did not try to fix, or explain, or change. I breathed, softly, gently, like one would breathe beside a sleeping child. And as I sat there, the emotions rose, danced, and faded, like mist over the surface of a lake. Then a teaching surfaced, a story I had heard many years before. A student once asked a Zen master, "How can I stop the waves of my mind?" The master replied, "You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." And in that moment, I understood. Peace does not come from controlling the sea. Peace comes from learning how to ride its rhythm, with presence, with balance, with trust. I stopped trying to make the pain disappear. I stopped resisting what was already here. Instead, I became willing to feel, fully, honestly, quietly. And something miraculous happened. The pain remained, yes, but I was no longer drowning in it. It became a wave I could float upon, a current I could breathe through. That night, I did not find freedom from my emotions. I found freedom within them. From that moment on, I understood. Emotional resilience is not something we build like a wall. It is something we uncover, like a seed that has always been there, buried beneath layers of fear and self-judgment. And all it ever needed was light, space, and a little kindness. This is the truth we forget when we chase calmness by force. That stillness is not the absence of waves. It is the art of resting, even as they rise and fall. And so it becomes clear. Emotional strength is not found somewhere outside of us. It is already within, waiting to be nourished by mindful breath and compassionate attention. So, what have we discovered together? That emotional resilience is not about never falling, but about rising again, each time, with a little more gentleness, a little more understanding. That we do not have to harden to survive this life. We can soften. We can breathe. We can stay present with the pain, and not be consumed by it. Through mindfulness, we begin to observe rather than react. Through the truth of impermanence, we remember that nothing lasts, not even this sorrow. And through compassion, we learn to hold ourselves the way the Buddha would hold us, without judgment, without shame. The strength you seek is already within you. Like a seed lying quietly in the soil, waiting for the right moment to bloom. May this video be a drop of rain for that seed. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to support this journey by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Every click helps us reach another soul in need of peace. And if you'd like to go deeper, our next video will explore practical mindfulness techniques you can start using today, even in the middle of chaos. Until then, breathe. Be kind to yourself. And remember, no wave can drown the ocean beneath it.